colleagues, fellow honorable members of the National Assembly, I am pleased this evening to make my contribution to this year's budget presentation. More than a pleasure, however, it is, I am fully aware, my duty to provide an even further perspective on the comprehensive summary prepared by the Honorable Minister of Finance, Mr. Winston Jordan. The 2019 budget is a special one in many ways. It is special in that it is the budget that marks the end of a particular period in our economic history, the budget that prepares us for the transition to what will be a transformative era, where we stand to become, in a tangible way, the mythical El Dorado that we have long aspired to be. As the Minister of Finance noted, this is the penultimate budget of the first 5 years of this administration and of the 50th anniversary of our status as a republic. It is a budget, therefore, in which we as a government make a case to the people that we are worthy of the stewardship of this beautiful nation, not simply into our next 5 years as the executive, but into our second half century as an independent republic. There can certainly be no argument that the broad vision is there, a good life for all Guyanese and a green economy. There can be no argument that the policy that supports and extends this vision is being created and implemented every day, from the Green State Development Strategy, currently in its final stages of preparation, to, among other things, the provision in the upcoming year's budget for the removal of the value-added tax and duty on the importation of vehicles intended for the use of persons with disabilities. It is not enough in itself, however, to have a grand vision or progressive policy. We must ensure that we have the muscular capacity to carry out that vision, or it will collapse. When it comes to the implementation of the policy that will take us into the future, the programs that make this generous budget meaningful to the citizens of the country, that muscular capacity rests in the public service, and the responsibility for ensuring that this capacity is kept optimal resides in my portfolio, the Ministry of the Public Service. This year's appropriation of $1.95 billion, almost 30% more than the current year's expenditure and 60% more than 2017's, represents this administration's commitment to demonstrably building capacity in the public service. I turn to the Planning and Analysis Unit. Mr. Speaker, one of the primary innovations that this administration has brought to the mission of significantly enhancing, indeed transforming public service management is the introduction of a Planning and Analysis Unit. The purpose of this unit, introduced last year, is simple: to provide evidence-based planning and oversight to the management of public service, academic, and training opportunities offered to Guyanese, with a special focus on accessibility and ensuring that there is value for money in the distribution of scholarships, whether fully or partially funded. This unit hit the ground running with its first critical task being the establishment of a priority training area matrix that distributes priority subjects across a range of available institutions and partners. For example, with the United Kingdom, our primary international partner for the provision of public service, academic, and training opportunities, a comprehensive gamut of priority areas has been established. In the oil and gas sector, 2017-2018 scholarship opportunities focused on master's degrees in petroleum data management, petroleum exploration, and oil and gas technology. In the thematic area of information management, master's degrees were offered in a range of areas, including records management, document analysis, software engineering, and cybersecurity. In addition to degrees offered in the health and agricultural sectors, priority areas also included heritage, museum studies, archives restoration and management, as well as social cohesion, mediation, and conflict studies. Turning now to development and operations. With regard, Mr. Speaker, to the general operations of the Ministry of Public Service, the Training Division, based on a needs analysis initiative undertaken by the Planning and Analysis Unit, has undertaken several measures to enhance public servant training locally. There's been a modern upgrade of the training room with more work still to be done, an aesthetic and catalogue upgrading of the Ministry of the Public Service Special Library, the implementation of monitoring and evaluation measures developed to assess the impact of training in order to gauge overall achievements and to plan future interventions. And all of this with a deliberate focus towards having training programs complement the 2018 Education Month theme, Education for a Good Life, the Innovation, and STEAM. With regard to enhancing the management of information in the department, an increased investment was made in the provision of internet services by switching to high-speed internet provided by the National Data Management Authority. Turning to the Bertram Collins College. Mr. Speaker, when this administration came into office, one of the first commitments made by His Excellency President Granger that there should be a professionalized public service began at the level of induction. Out of this vision came the concrete institution, the Bertram Collins College of the Public Service. The first batch of 58 cadets from around the country graduated in December of 2017, 1 year ago, and the second batch of 60 cadets began their program in November of last year. One of the primary missions of the college, Mr. Speaker, is in addition to ensuring that adequate capacity is developed in the public service from an entry level, but to also ensure that capacity is equitably distributed around the country according to regional needs. Towards that end, cadets are recruited from around the country and on completion of their programs are placed in public service institutions in the region of their origin. Complementary to that purpose is the inclusion of study tours into the curriculum covering regions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8 in order that cadets have a sense of the scope of the national public service and the needs or regions outside of their own. For 2019, the Ministry intends to improve the facilities of the college by the acquisition of a new 30-seater bus to facilitate student transport, equipment to assist in transition to the institution's smart classroom initiative, enhancement to the training building at Ogle, and the procurement of additional, more cost-effective living facilities. Training and scholarships. Mr. Speaker, it's a primary purpose of my portfolio, as I indicated in my introduction, to ensure that this country is prepared via the enhancement of skills available to the public service to ably meet and manage the transformative future that awaits us. As I referred to in addressing the work of the Planning and Analysis Unit, the Ministry of the Public Service fields a wide range of scholarships across a variety of subject areas undertaken across scores of institutions in Guyana, as well as countries on every continent and islands across the globe. To give this assembly a more concrete idea of the numbers, I can inform you, as of the end of July of this year, there were 253 students engaged in continuing studies in 24 countries, including countries as close as Brazil, Trinidad, Grenada, and Barbados, the countries as far away as China, India, and Japan. Thanks. We have scholars undertaking academic programs in familiar partners like the UK, Canada, and the United States, as well as in less traditional partner countries such as Thailand, Indonesia, and Georgia. Of these overseas students, slightly less than 1/3, 71, are completing their studies and returning to Guyana to contribute to the public service. Also, as of the end of July this year, we also had a total of 978 students continuing studies at 14 institutions across Guyana, including Texila University, the Art Williams and Harry Wendt Aeronautical School, the Guyana School of Agriculture, the Carnegie School of Home Economics, the E.R. Burroughs School of Art, and the University of Guyana. The latter accounting for the vast majority of continuing students. As of the same period, there were some 58 fully funded overseas scholarships being undertaken in 10 countries, and 167 partially funded overseas scholarships being undertaken in 20 countries. It is towards this goal that the lion's share of this year's allocation to my ministry goes towards training and academic scholarships, $1.5 billion, representing a 50% increase over last year's expenditure of $1.08 billion. Finally, Mr. Speaker, my honorable members of this Assembly, I understand that rigorous debate and expenditure in various areas of a national budget is congruous with the spirit of this Assembly. There is absolutely no other way of ensuring that the interests of citizens are protected. In this regard, I anticipate and welcome a dogged interrogation from the opposition with regard to expenditure allocated to the Ministry of the Public Service, and subsequently, I hope, unanimous approval on this critical area of public expenditure. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.